to kind of make a score out of a wave that's a closeout.
Well, here's your round one, heat one, and what a way to start. Of course, Kelly Slater's already got an incredible wave under his belt. Jadson Andre and Dusty Payne. Ross, let's start with Kelly Slater. You know, obviously, we're going to get right into it with an incredible heat. We got sets out the back. South Swell is sticking around. Chris Cote here with Ross Williams. We're going to get right into it, starting with Kelly Slater, surfer in red. Nice opening hook. Very Kelly Slater-ish start. Right off the buzzer, Slater slicing and dicing this wave to bits. A perfect right-hander to open up this event. Kelly Slater, one more jam on the inside, blows the tail, recovers, and there you have it. 2015 Hurley Pro is officially on with our 11-time world champion, Kelly Slater, starting it off. Job starts early. An impressive wave for Kelly Slater. Here goes your surfer in white, Dusty Payne. Going to the air, first wave goes down.
Well, Chris, you're going to see a lot of that today. You know, he's got a few different designs, trying to find some magic there. The board looks amazing. And now, you know, we haven't spoken a lot about Jadson Andre. He is the other guy in this heat. We talked about Dusty Payne's power, but Jadson very nimble, quick, and loves to explode on that end section on the left. Look for a big old air rotation from him somewhere throughout this heat. Look out, Dusty's going to go mental this year, but then he's really been iced out. He's suffered having such a low seat. He comes up against monsters.
Jadson Andre, very dangerous out here at lowers. And his first opening turns showing exactly what he is capable of out here. Quick, goofy footer who will go to the air right there, going down on that end section. You can kind of tell he's hunting for a ramp. And that is definitely his forte on these lefts, is those big frontside air reverses. So we'll see if he gets the opportunity. And here we go, Kelly Slater, surfer in red, cranks it off the bottom, straight up into a foam climb. Comes around a section, goes to the air, comes unstuck. So far, the air game not panning out for any of our surfers. I like what I'm seeing. I like that they're just getting a jump on it early.
That's pretty cool. Really aggressive there from Kelly. You know, he could have just went for a big old snap there and gone down the line and finish off a backup score. You know, and by the way, the scores have not dropped yet for that first wave of Kelly. So the judges really deliberating over there. They want to make sure that's going to set the pace for the heat. So they want to get that number right, but they don't want to go too high either, because this heat just started. And this is the wave that we're waiting for a score. But looking really crisp, Chris. You can see no rails caught. Nice maneuver there to connect these two turns. Beautiful little carve there. Almost getting stuck for a second, but he came out of it so smooth, and by far the best snap of the wave right here. And I love the cheeky little rail grab, Chris. Just showing that control as he spins the fins free, and a solid fins free move to finish. So all systems go for Kelly. Looking really nice on that new board. And Jadson just picking up a 5.3 for this first wave. But I always like to see the equipment, how it looks under the guy's feet on their first wave. Looking sharp for Jadson. I know it's just a warm-up wave and he fell, but you know, the board's looking spot on.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. You kind of look at the differences in the boards between Jadson and Kelly. Kelly's like on a short, kind of wide board. It looks like it has a lot of hips towards the tail. Jadson kind of on a more pointy, I guess, narrower board, maybe a little bit less foam.
You know, in my eyes, for sure, he's looking at semis are better. But here's the thing. You can't look too far ahead. He has to take care of this heat right now.
Well, he's already sitting on a massive score. We're going to take a look at this set right here. Well, a guy that has possibly the best seat in the house is, you know, definitely right there in the mix. Right on. Well, that'll kind of give you the basics right there of temperature. It's absolutely trunkable, about 74 degrees. The air is already in the 80s. So the vibe is alive and well here. The endless summer. Kelly Slater is taking full advantage right now. Nice. A reactionary carve, almost getting hung up and powering through. Another beautiful hack. Kelly Slater driving hard off the bottom, straight up into a little foam snap. Looking towards the inside section with menace. Throws the tail, goes down.
Well, that's somewhat frustrating to watch. You know, if you're a big fan of Kelly right now, you just want him to finish off that score to get put the pressure on quick on Dusty and Jadson. But he's left that door open, falling off in that last move. But I tell you what, that board looks amazing.
I want that, whatever that is, I want it.
I love that extra foam he's got. You know, so many times you watch a heat of Kelly and his board just looks a little small and there's kind of water getting pushed off the nose of the board. He looks like he's riding nice and high on top of the water, and he's actually getting speed out of his carbs. Watch this right here. It's just, you can see there was no pause in the action. He came straight back into a bottom turn. And so he's getting this positive response out of each maneuver.
Well, it's the trickle-down effect of Kelly Slater's surfboards. This is what we're all going to be wanting to ride in a month or two. Here goes Dusty Payne. Little bobble on his opening bottom turn, but reacts nicely. A couple solid turns. Trying to get around this section. Goes down. So Dusty Payne just getting caught a little bit behind. I think that all kind of hinged on that opening bottom turn. Just a little bit of a dig. Kind of threw him off his game early on that wave.
But a lot of the times, as soon as he has a little bit of something negative happen, he can't get into the best wave, you'll see his body language kind of go downhill. And here we go.
Jadson Andre.
Split peak for Jaddy there. And again, Chris, just getting a little hung up over there on those lefts.
You know, I feel like almost, maybe all three of these guys, maybe a little bit too loose right now. Obviously, Kelly's opening wave's so good. Maybe that kind of just shook everybody up a little bit.
Well, they've heard the score from Kelly. It was an 8-point ride, so, you know, if you're in the seat, you're thinking, okay, that's not the end of the world. It's a good score, but it's not as if he dropped a 9.5, and that's when you really start getting deflated.
So many times and with so many people could play tricks with you a little bit because you might want to just take off on any wave you see.
That's true. You know, it's tough to practice out here. It's really packed.
All right, well, Jadson Andre holds off Kelly Slater, goes to his backhand, which we know can be lethal on its day. So a couple opening turns, goes to the float. Jadson looking to open up, blows the tail, goes down. So three pretty much mistakes for Jadson Andre. A couple decent scores, but here goes Kelly Slater. A lot of speed off the takeoff. Little speed check, cranks it off the bottom, goes vertical into the whitewater. Comes around this section. Blast the tail, holds on somehow. Gecko toes. Kelly Slater hanging on, but out the back, Dusty Payne opened up with a hammer. Driving down the line on this right. Now this is the Dusty Payne we know and love. His opening turn was incredible, and you just see the confidence right there at the end of that wave. Just quick little pop shove, letting everybody know he is relaxed. Judging by the oohs and ahs that came up from the beach off that first turn, that is going to be a great wave for Dusty Payne.
Yeah, can't wait to see that again. But Kelly Slater picking off a medium-sized wave. He is so smart in his wave choice. He knows that some of the set waves are closing out and a little bit tricky to ride, so these medium waves can offer up great points.
Whoa.
As you mentioned, gecko toes right there, just clinging to that board, which was pretty cool because it looked like he was going to fall off yet again, and he hung on to that maneuver. But again, a sloppy finish for Kelly, so a meager backup score. He's still got a lot of work left. And the first wave of this set, Jadson Andre, another kind of a clumsy fall for him as well. He just got some midpoint score, mid-range scores so far. This is going to be another one. As he gets hung up right there, that's not going to be a keeper for Jaddy.
Live action, Jadson Andre looking to react after a mediocre performance in his last wave. A couple nice backside hooks, going vertical through the whitewater. So did put it all together, but it almost looks like Jadson is waiting. You know, he's kind of just doing setup turns, hoping for that big section to come at him and let him attack. The opening turn right there, pretty solid, but again, just, you know, it's about excitement. And right now it seems like the excitement is with Kelly Slater with those, you know, the maneuver he did where he just hang on. You know, the judges want to be on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, I would agree. You know, he got a little more fins out the back than he anticipated, but he recovered nicely. So looking at, I would say better for sure on this wave. He's on the right track, but still, it doesn't look like a score to me that's going to break that above average, you know, excellent range. So he's still going to be looking, but I really want to see a replay of that carve from Dusty. That was next level.
You're gonna have to wait. We got live action. Dusty Payne off the bottom. Nice opening carve, precision. Surfing, big, powerful arc, backing it up. Dusty Payne again, blowing the tail.
Wow.
Perfectly executed. He loves it. The crowd loves it. I'm loving it. Dusty Payne right back in this heat.
right behind Kelly's wave. That was the strongest maneuver we've seen so far in his heat. It looks so amazing, and it gave him that boost of confidence that we know Dusty's known for. And then he goes straight into this. And when you're thinking positive, you just land everything. Watch this move right here. That was a beautiful nose pick. His entire board was out of the water. That's going to really impress the judges when you show that much commitment and that much confidence.
We are back, live action. Ocean not taking a break as South Swell pulsing through Southern California, giving our surfers ample opportunity to flare out. And that's exactly what we wanted to see from Jadson Andre. He waited for it, found the section, blasted our first completed frontside air reverse. Definitely not the last. Chris Cote here with Ross Williams. We knew this was going to be an exciting heat, but man, it has so far exceeded all expectations. Dusty, Jadson, Kelly, now all right back in this thing after a strong start from Kelly Slater.
It's pretty cool. Dusty's been fighting back here. Kelly had a smooth start, and now Jadson throwing his hat in the ring. You know, he just has a couple of mid-range scores here to this point, but then he found a nice ramp. And as you mentioned, this is what he is known for, greasing those nice little air rotators, tail high. So nice maneuver there, but I don't think it's going to be a giant score, but maybe it'll be his best one. And Dusty finding insider here. Kelly surprisingly didn't go in this wave, and Dusty just again feeding off that momentum. He threw down easily the heaviest carb we've seen so far in his heat, and then backed it up right away with another score. And we're waiting for those scores. You know, the judges are playing catch up.
Wow, this is live. Kelly Slater going for the carving 360. And the wave takes him out. So right now the surfboard under Kelly Slater's feet looks like completely at his command, and he is feeling loose.
I think that board is looking amazing, but it also looks like he's still getting used to it, just getting caught off guard a little bit here and there. I think, obviously this is more foam than he's used to, so you will get some feedback that kind of pushes back on you, which is a good thing. That's the energy that I like. He's springing out of his turns, but if you're not used to that, it can catch you off guard. So you can see Kelly, this board looks amazing, but there is a little bit of a learning curve here.
We're going into these contests, there's basically two major questions. What are the waves going to be like, and what is Kelly Slater going to ride? And that's what we're kind of looking at right now. And it's really looking like a mystery board. We did get some dimensions, and who knows if these are even real. He could be just smoke bombing all of us, and whatever it is, it's looking good. Kelly Slater up on another wave. Nice little tail whipping carve. Bam, that's the turn Kelly Slater has been known for out here at Lowers. And just this board looks so perfect under his feet. And right as I say that, the imperfections show. Little fins sliding out. And I think your point, Ross, of getting used to a board, which is something Kelly Slater basically doesn't do. He just grabs a board. We've seen him midway through heats ride a board that's freshly waxed.
Right.
So that kind of game of keeping boards on ice is not something that Kelly generally does, correct?
Well, I'll tell you what, for sure he really likes to feel this board because he has a lot of confidence with that Rook 15. He's been riding it a lot this year on a Channel Island surfboard, so the fact that he's riding this morning, sort of a last-minute late trade-in here, means that he's really onto something. That wave right there, he was 9 out of 10. There's so much swell in the water, and we heard Pete Mel talk about it earlier. This contest, this swell right now, it's going to be really consistent, which is awesome for the guys.
Jadson Andre sticking to these lefts, looking for a ramp, cranks it off the bottom, dealing with a little bit of bounce. Some backwash coming up on the high tide. Nice second turn. Jadson. Kind of an awkward little foam snap. Going to the air again. Corks it out a little too much. Goes down. And right behind him, Dusty. Hunting for something with a slip.
That might have been a case of that.
Did he wax the top of his feet?
He didn't wax the top of his feet. Obviously, there's some confusion going on, not only for us for scores, but for the surfers. It's very vital to them to know where they stand, what score they need. We've had a little bit of a blip right now, so you can see the confusion in the water. They want to know what's going on.
Yeah, I think there's a sense of urgency. You could tell that, 3 seconds into that heat, Kelly Slater was already up and surfing his way to an 8.
Yeah.
So you can tell, Todd Klein said he's not much of a morning person, but it seems like he needs to change. He needs everything to go his way to get back in the hunt.